Good evening, guys. So today we'll take up a problem based on the concept of conservation of linear momentum, right? And there are several spring problems which will be asked generally in the concept of conservation of linear momentum, right? So we'll take one general problem based on that. And hopefully solving this problem will give us a better understanding of how to deal with other problems asked on the same concept, right? So let me share the screen with you guys and let's go about solving this problem. So the question is as such: we have two blocks of masses M1 and M2, and these two blocks are connected by a spring or spring constant K, as shown in the figure. So the spring is initially at its natural length. The spring is neither elongated nor compressed initially. And your block of mass M2 is given a sharp impulse so that it acquires a velocity V0 towards right? So we need to find out what's the maximum elongation that the spring will suffer. What maximum elongation will the spring have in this case is a question asked over here, right? So let's deal with this question. So here we have two blocks of masses M1 and M2. The two blocks are connected by a spring of spring constant K, right? And this block is given a sharp impulse such that it acquires a velocity V0. So what does that condition mean essentially? What it means is that this force has been given in such a way, this force has been given rapidly or instantaneously, such that in the time it took for this block to attain a velocity V0, the spring didn't get elongated at all. The spring didn't get elongated at all. That's what he meant by the condition of this block is given a sharp impulse such that it attains a velocity V0, right? So the condition over here is this block is given a velocity V0, and in the time it took for this block to attain a velocity V0, we can ignore the elongation which the spring had undergone during that case, during that time, right? So in the time, by the time this block has acquired a velocity V0, we'll still say that the spring is at its natural length. We'll still say that the spring is at its natural length, right? And now we need to find out after it starts moving with a velocity V0, what will be the maximum elongation that the spring will have after a certain instant of time? What will be the maximum elongation of the spring? Is a question asked over here. And we have the velocity of the block given. Your spring constant is also given. That's given as A. Right. So let's try to understand the motion of these particles over here. Right. So once the block starts moving at the velocity V0, your spring will now start getting elongated as this block is moving now, and this block is initially stationary over here at that next instant. So the spring starts getting elongated. So because your spring starts getting elongated, your spring will start exerting the force on the block of mass M2 towards left, and the spring will start exerting an equal force on the block of mass M1 towards right. And what does this imply? This implies that since the force exerted by the spring on the block of mass M2 is acting against its velocity, the velocity of block 2 will decrease, whereas the velocity of block 1, now since the force is now pulling this block, it's helping it start from rest. So velocity of block 1 will now start from 0 and it gradually increases. Right? So again, it was given an initial velocity V0, but as soon as it starts moving now, the spring gets elongated. And when the spring gets elongated, again, it exerts a force on both its ends because the spring is now extended. So it will try to pull the block of mass M2 towards left, and it will try to pull the block of mass M1 towards right? And because of that, since this force is acting against its velocity, the velocity of block 2 will decrease, whereas the velocity of block 1 will start, its velocity was 0 initially, and now there's a force acting, so its velocity will increase, right? Its velocity will increase over here, right? So here we have both the blocks moving. And now, first of all, let's try to understand when this condition of maximum elongation will be obtained. Right? We had dealt with questions in work per energy where we had a single block, connected to a wall. Right? And when this block was given a velocity, some V0, we had to find out what the maximum elongation of the spring was. This was some kind of, I hope you guys are more comfortable with these kind of questions. So here we had dealt with a single block case earlier, right? And in this case, how would we solve this question if we had to find out the maximum elongation in this case? Right? Once again, we say that as this block is moving, the spring force will act towards left. So the velocity of this block keeps on decreasing. And at a certain instant, it will stop moving. right? So the block keeps on moving towards right until its velocity becomes 0, and then it stops, and then the spring will pull it back again. So your maximum elongation of the block here will be attained when the velocity is 0. The maximum elongation of the block will be attained when the velocity of the block becomes 0, when it stops moving at that instant, and then it comes back again. Sorry, and then it comes back again naturally, right? But here we have two blocks over here, so this case becomes slightly complicated. But here, by using the concept of relative velocity, we can now find out when maximum elongation will be attained. In the case where both the blocks are moving right now. So let me consider at some instant in between. So the initial velocity of block M2 was V0. The initial velocity of block M1 was 0. But now as it starts moving, we see that the spring will exert a force on both the blocks. So we know that this will have a different velocity now. Let that velocity be V2. And this will also gain some velocity now. Let that velocity be V1. Let that velocity be V1. So I'm taking at some instant in between. So your spring might have been elongated by a certain amount. So there's some situation in between over here, right? And now what we are trying to find out is when will maximum elongation happen? When will maximum elongation occur in this case? When will maximum elongation occur in this case? So here, let us try to observe things from block 1's frame of reference. Let us try to observe things from block 1's frame of reference. So from the block 1's frame of reference, your block 2 is moving forward. From block 1's frame of reference, block 2 is moving forward, right? And if block 2 is moving forward with respect to block 1, the spring is getting elongated. The spring is getting elongated because the separation between M2 and M1 is increasing, right? So here we'll say that if I'm observing this problem from block 1's frame of reference, I say that the spring will get elongated. The spring will get elongated as long as block 2 moves away from block 1. As long as block 2 moves away from 1. As long as block 2 moves away from block 1. Right. As long as block 2 moves away from block 1, the separation between the two blocks is increasing. So the spring which is connected to both the blocks will also be increasing in length. In other words, meaning that it's getting elongated, right? So spring will get elongated as long as block 2 moves away from block 1. So when will the spring stop getting elongated? The spring will stop getting elongated when block 2 stops moving with respect to block 1. When block 2 stops moving with respect to block 1. So in other words, you will have maximum elongation when velocity of block 2 with respect to block 1 is equal to 0. Right? So here first trying to understand when will maximum elongation happen is important. Here trying to understand when will maximum elongation happen over here is important. So your condition for maximum elongation over here is when the velocity of block 2 with respect to block 1 becomes 0. When block 2 stops moving with respect to block 1, when block 2 stops moving forward with respect to block 1, then at that point you'll have maximum elongation because till that instant, block 2 was moving away from block 1. Imagine it from 1's frame of reference. Block 2 was moving away from block 1. And now when it's stopping with respect to this block, that means it will have maximum elongation in that case, right? So this is your important condition over here. So maximum elongation will be attained when velocity of block 2 is with respect to 1 becomes 0. With respect to 1 becomes 0. And now we know the formula for relative velocity. Velocity of 2 with respect to 1 implies velocity of 2 with respect to ground minus velocity of 1 with respect is equal to velocity of 2 minus velocity of 1. So that should be equal to 0. So in other words, the maximum elongation will happen when velocity of block 2 becomes equal to velocity of block 1. The maximum elongation will be obtained in this case when velocity of block 2 becomes equal to velocity of block 1. So that's one part of the question over here, understanding when maximum elongation will happen. Understanding when maximum elongation will happen, right? So now we know that maximum elongation happens during this instant. Let's find out what the velocities of both the blocks are at that instant, right? So from the initial condition, that is when the spring was at its natural length, M1 was at rest, and M2 was moving with the velocity V0, till this case, till the final case, that is when the spring has maximum elongation. And when will the spring have maximum elongation again? We will have maximum elongation when both these blocks have the same velocity. When both these blocks have the same velocity. So let me take that velocity as some V. Let me take that velocity as some V. Till your case of maximum elongation. If I consider both the blocks as system, if I consider block 1 plus block 2 as my system, along the x direction, there's only one external force acting on the system. Along the x direction, there's only one external force acting on the system, and the external force acting on the system is your spring force. The external force acting on the system is your spring force. Your spring force is acting on both blocks 1 and block 2, right? But looking at the diagram we had drawn earlier, or let me redraw the diagram over here. If the spring exerts a force F on block 2, it will exert the same force on block 1, but in the opposite direction. If your spring is pulling the block 2 towards left, the spring is also pulling the block 1 towards right. And the force exerted by the spring will be equal to K into X, ignoring this negative sign, which just implies direction, where X is the elongation over here. And the elongation is common for both of them. So here we see that the spring force acting on both the blocks are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. So the net external force acting on the system, due to the spring will be equal to 0 on the system, will be equal to 0. So why is the net external force 0 over here? Because whatever force the spring exerts on block 2, the same force the spring will also exert on block 1, but it's exerting it in the opposite direction. So your total force acting on the system is minus kxi cap plus kxi cap. So that will become equal to 0, right? So if the net force acting on a system is 0, we can say that the momentum of the system can be conserved. So the momentum of the system will remain constant over here. So the momentum of the system from the initial condition to the condition of maximum elongation. The momentum of the system from here to here. The momentum of the system from this case to this case remains constant. So let me write my momentum equation over here. So what would my momentum equation be? What was my initial momentum of the system? Initial momentum is equal to final momentum implies initially block 1 had 0 velocity. Block 2 had a velocity of V naught. And what velocity did block, and finally what velocity do they have? At maximum elongation, we know that both of them must have the same velocity. So this will be a conservation of linear momentum equation. And from this, what velocity do we get the two blocks to be having at maximum elongation? At maximum elongation, we see that the value of V, which is the velocity they have during maximum elongation, would be equal to m2 V naught divided by m1 plus m2. So this is the velocity of both the blocks at maximum elongation. This is the velocity of both the blocks at maximum elongation over here, right? So once again, the steps which we've gone through it is, first we found out where will maximum elongation happen, or when will maximum elongation happen, right? So we looked at this problem from block 1's frame of reference. We saw that block 2 is initially moving forward with respect to block 1, right? So when block 2 stops moving forward with respect to block 1, that is when you'll have maximum elongation, which when written in a mathematical form was basically nothing but when the velocity of block 2 with respect to block 1 becomes 0, that's when maximum elongation will be obtained, which when we simplified, we found out that maximum elongation will be obtained when both the blocks have the same velocity. We assume that velocity to be equal to. And then when we looked at the case from the initial condition to the final condition, that is at maximum elongation, we saw that the only external force acting on these two blocks, which we are considering as a system right now, but the net external spring force acting on the system is 0 because the spring force exerts a force towards left on block 2. It exerts the same force on block 1 towards right. So the total external force acting on the system is 0. So what does that imply? That implies that I can use my conservation of momentum. And using that, we found out what velocity these two blocks would have at maximum elongation, right? And now from this, we can find out what the maximum elongation of the spring will be. From this, we can now find out what the maximum elongation of the spring will be. So once again, considering the case from the initial to the final, considering the case from the initial condition to the final condition. So from your situation from here to here, in your situation from here to here, again, the only force acting on it is the spring force. There are other forces acting as well. You have gravitational force, you have normal force as well, right? But again, they're acting along y direction, so it doesn't matter over here. So anyways, the spring force is a conservative force. The spring force is a conservative force. So the only force which you have acting on the system is a conservative force over here. So if that is the case, if you only have conservative forces acting within your system, then what does that imply? That implies that mechanical energy of the system will remain conserved. mechanical energy of the system remains constant. Right? So your initial mechanical energy of the system should be equal to final mechanical energy of the system. Would be another equation which you can use to get the answer. And now writing this equation down, what was the initial mechanical energy of the system? So mechanical energy is nothing but kinetic energy plus potential energy. So the kinetic energy of block 1 is 0. Kinetic energy of block 2 is half into m2 into v0 squared. And what is the potential energy this spring has? The spring is initially not elongated. The spring is initially at its natural length. So the initial potential energy of the spring would be equal to 0. And then what will be your final mechanical energy? Your final mechanical energy will be equal to half m1 v squared, where v is the velocity it has at maximum elongation. We'll substitute that value later. So it's half m1 v squared plus half m2 v squared. Both the blocks have the same velocity, plus half k x squared now. And this is the condition we are writing down at maximum elongation. So the x value over here would be the maximum elongation in this case, and that is the x value which we need to find out. Simplifying this equation, what do we get? So half gets cancelled everywhere. So we'll get m2 v0 squared is equal to m1 plus m2 of v squared plus kx squared. We get the x value. We get the x value to be equal to m2 v0 squared minus m1 plus m2 of v squared divided by k whole under root divided by k whole under root. Now substituting the value of v. So what was the value of v? A value of v was nothing but m2 v0 by m1 plus m2. So this whole squared divided by k whole power 1 by 2 would be the answer, right? And then simplifying this further, so 1 m1 plus m2 gets cancelled over here. 1 m1 plus m2 gets cancelled over here. So we get your maximum elongation to be equal to m2 v0 squared minus m2 squared v0 squared by m1 plus m2 divided by k whole power 1 by 2. And taking LCM over here, we get this as m1 m2 v0 plus m2 squared v0. Sorry, there's a v0 squared over here. We get m1 m2 v0 squared plus m2 squared v0 squared. So that gets cancelled with this m2 squared v0 squared. So we get the final answer as m1 m2 v0 squared divided by m1 plus m2 of k whole power 1 by 2 to be the maximum elongation of the spring. To be the maximum elongation of the spring. Right? So hopefully this question is clear, and this is one of your more common questions which you can get based on the concept of conservation of linear momentum. So repeating the steps again, first, what was the meaning of giving a sharp impulse? The meaning of giving a sharp impulse over here is this block has gained a velocity v0 without the spring getting elongated. In the time it has taken for this block to gain a velocity v0. Once again, what do you mean by an impulse? A large force applied for a short interval of time. So in that short interval of time, we can say that the spring has not been elongated. So this block is gaining a velocity v0 without your spring being elongated. So initial elongation of the spring is 0. We looked at what will happen, like when will maximum elongation occur. So we saw that maximum elongation will occur, and to find out when maximum elongation occurs, we looked at the problem from block 1's frame of reference. So we saw that initially block 2 is moving forward with respect to block 1. So your maximum elongation will happen when block 2 stops moving forward with respect to block 1. So as velocity of 2 with respect to 1 becomes equal to 0. And then writing it down mathematically, we saw that both of these blocks must have the same velocity at maximum elongation. And we saw that there was no external force acting on the system. You have spring force acting on them, but your spring force will be equal and opposite on both the blocks. Your net external force acting on the system will be 0. So momentum of the system will be conserved. So using that, we found out what is the velocity of both the blocks at maximum elongation. What velocity will both these blocks have at maximum elongation? And then finally, using your conservation of mechanical energy. Since the only force acting over here is a conservative force, that's a spring force, your mechanical energy of the system will remain constant. So initial mechanical energy is equal to final mechanical energy. So using that, we found out what the maximum elongation value would be equal to. Right? So anyways, I hope this question is clear, and now hopefully you'll be able to solve similar questions of this model as well.